keeping nature and people alive, the importance of half a glass of water. The time between the past and the future, the world has hosted millions of people. Some causing extinction, others salvation, but all of them consumed to live. And few tried to protect them by thinking of the following species. What good people aiming for this? The world we live in is a place where consumption has increased tremendously and awareness of the individual, especially regarding consumption of water and food, is low or is being ignored. The hope is that we can reach consciousness faster and more effectively. Therefore, instead of the wrath of past generations, who consume rather than protect and turn today's world into darkness, we need to understand the importance of conserving water and food by increasing our awareness and knowledge, educating ourselves first and then future generations. I know most of us grew up taking different advice from our families as children, and we have a similar respect for the environment. With the advice of our parents, we turned off the water while brushing our teeth and turning off the lights. Well, how many of us now know how to properly wash dishes with minimal waste? Recycle stale bread, or what to do with rotten bananas? How do we protect the environment, especially water and food? What can we do to secure the future of ourselves and our children? I start a series of several episodes aiming to find answers by asking myself questions and telling you based on those answers. I know it's a bit negative or annoying topic, but it's time to stop focusing on the glass half full or empty and start thinking about what the water would be. Will this water be the life for the seed to sprout? Or will it go through a tired, dry throat? Why is water so important? We all know that in order to carry on with our life activities we need to have an adequate amount of water daily. So, can everyone in the world have enough water? The answer, as you might imagine, is no. There are of course many reasons for this. In fact, where the fresh water distributed to the world comes from, Fiji, not many people have access to the water as they would like. In the coming years, not only will these poor or arid countries be affected by a possible water shortage. Unfortunately, everyone suffers from thirst. There are various reasons for these, and they are not the issues we will focus on. But we have to know that the most effective reason behind this is political and political. The fact that water is marketed and privatized unfortunately prevents many people from accessing drinking water, which is their natural right. There are some things we can do to prevent this. We can spread this awareness by telling people as much as we can. Or we can participate in many social responsibility projects based on water conservation. Apart from this, we can try to continue our activities and protect the water by always remembering the importance of water in our daily life. In the future, I will talk about the water conservation efforts we have started at home, especially those in the kitchen. But we must not forget that we need to tell ourselves and our children as an obligation. Not as a responsibility, not as a responsibility. The responsibility not to waste water that we have learned while brushing our teeth in the past. Learn water footprint. According to research, we consume an average of 2 liters of water per person per day. But when we add the dishes we wash, the food we consume, the clothes we buy, and the wasted tap water, that amount comes to 200 liters per day. Although I aim to give you some awareness based on gastronomy, I can't help but mention the aquatic imprint. The first thing we can do to increase our awareness of water consumption is to calculate our water footprint. It's very easy. Online, 3. You can quickly calculate your water print with a little research. With a water footprint, you can see how much water you use in many areas. From the time you spend in the bathroom, how often you run your laundry and dishwasher, how much you use kitchen taps, the costs of clothes, the coffee you consume daily. After learning this, make sure we realize how much we are wasting. Of course, realization is meaningless in itself. We have to prepare ourselves that we will be more careful. And think first of all about future generations. Conserve water in our kitchen. Eliminating food waste is the first and most important thing we can do to conserve water in our kitchens. What does water have to do with a piece of bread? And the rumbling of a chicken leg? You might think. Just as water makes up more than half of our bodies, more than half of what we eat and consume is water. Also, consider the tons of water in producing the dozens of foods that are wasted. Throwing away a piece of bread is actually not just one piece of bread, but tons of water. Consuming the food we prepare by consciously preserving and preparing it is the simplest way we can do in our kitchens to conserve water. The main reason for this is that 70% of the world's fresh water resources are used in agriculture. That is, every vegetable and fruit we go to the grocery store. Tons of water is used during the production of every item we buy from wholesalers and markets. And it's not just farming. In order to get milk and dairy products or to get a piece of meat, cattle need to consume tons of liters of water on farms. We can say that water is the means of subsistence of those animals as well. But these farms and factories that were built for us, not for their own survival, consume much more water than those animals do. Water is wasted in every process as milk and meat from animals goes to factories, is processed and packaged, and comes to markets and our tables depending on the supply chain. Additionally, another study showed that choosing a plant-based diet reduces an individual's water footprint by half. Of course, be vegan, be vegan. I'm not saying we need to understand why these people are fed this way. Let me also clarify. What can we do as people who consume meat and dairy products? If you ask, the answer is simple: to be able to stop food wastage in our kitchen. If a glass of milk and a piece of meat came to our table, we wasted tons of water. Let's appreciate it. So, how many liters of water are consumed when producing products that are frequently consumed in our kitchen? 1. Let's take a look at some of them. 40 liters for one slice of bread. 30 liters per cup of tea. 185 liters for one packet of chips. 2,400 liters for 150 grams of hamburger, farm to table. 15,500 liters per kilo of beef. 50 liters for one orange. 375 liters for 75 grams of cheese. 208 liters for 1 cup of coffee, in a cardboard cup. 1 serving of rice 150 liters. Of course, this is not always the same amount of water spent. It varies depending on whether the grown produce is in a dry place or in a place with heavy rain, and again depending on where and how it got into the country. According to the research, the lowest water consumption is the production of seasonal vegetables. What does water mean to you? How aware are we of the importance of running water right now when we go to our bathroom and shower, turn on the tap to wash our hands, or use water to clean our vegetables? The fact that water is available as a cheap or free resource does not mean that it is worthless. The most scarce and most precious resource in our lives is actually water. At home, at school, at our workplace, according to our family structure, cultural and economic activities, water does not mean the same for everyone. Water is always in life for our environment, nature, hygiene, health and productivity. From society to society, according to geography and beliefs, water. It plays a very important role in establishing connections with people and life. In most societies and beliefs, it represents peace with its purity, harmony and balance with its fluidity. Again, if we look at the geographical areas, it is difficult for a person in a dry part of Africa and a person in India to have the same view of water, but depending on the innate need of these two people who are very far from each otherwise, the water can be used for a common purpose, it serves life and it is life. We know that the brightest ideas emerge under the toughest conditions. Suppose a technology like drip irrigation, which is very important for agriculture, was designed by a young Kenyan IT expert. Now this person is teaching the youth and farmers of his country how to use water more efficiently using this technology. For him, water keeps nature and people alive. Based on what we have said, we need to know the value of water. Stay away from waste by remembering it in every bite we put in our mouths. And base everything in our daily lives on water for sustainable development and leave our world where future generations will live as a relatively less worn-out place. So, what does water mean to you? Let's meet in the comments.